about religion, or would it really get you into heaven? If you got questions about that, we're gonna talk about it and see which way it goes. And what I'll do is, after this few seconds pause, we'll be right back to talk about it. How about that? All right, welcome back to Up at Night. Hey, listen, it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I believe that I'll have some real information for you to at least consider or think about. A lot of times we don't think about what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. We especially don't have to think about. We don't never think about. A lot of times our religion, or are you religious? I would say there's a lot of people that are religious, and I often wondered what it would be like to, I know there's a lot of religions out there, and there are people that are Baptist and Catholic and Episcopalian and Muslim, and just a lot of religions. And I know you have thought about this too. So I'm sure you've thought about which one is right. Which one of the religions do I need to belong to know that I'm right? So I guess what I would try to be thinking about is, um, what's the use of having a religion? First of all, is it because you need a religion to, because you know that this is something that's necessary for you to get to where you need to be in the long run, or does it does it do anything for you besides, you know uh, you share a belief with other people like yourself, and it makes you feel good about it? Or does it enlighten you to give you a certain plateau that you need to reach? I think that's some fair questions. I often thought about that a lot of times, about the religions, and just to kind of help you, or get you to understand where I'm coming from, is um, when I was growing up, of course, my parents took me to my parents took us. I say us because I have a sister and brother. I'm the oldest in the siblings, and we were made to get up on Sunday morning and go to church. And my dad would, you know, get us up, and my mom would get us up, and then we would go through a routine on Sunday mornings, and we all had to get up in our household, and we had to get dressed. Now, my dad would get up early enough where, how the times when I don't know, maybe some of you haven't experienced this, and maybe a whole lot of you have. You get up in the morning and you smell the bacon. You smell food in the kitchen, all the way into the bedroom in which you are sleeping or laying around in, and it makes you hungry and you want to get up and get something to eat. Well, that was what my dad used to do. Is he used to cook breakfast early in the morning, getting us ready, to get up, have some breakfast before we go to church. Or if we didn't have breakfast that morning, and we got up to get ready for church, we would actually sometimes get to church early enough to get some biscuits and jelly, which the church often served before service has started. And I guess I was kind of looking forward to that too. And that was always a good thing because they made some good biscuits. Man, they made some good biscuits. And I really enjoyed it with the grape jelly on it and everything. And man, I look forward to it on a regular basis, on Sunday mornings. But even though I really didn't want to go to church, but you know, what motivated me, I would say, most of the time, is the fact that uh, I would be in the choir. I sing in the choir, and then there was other brothers in the choir that we used to always harmonize. So I kind of look forward to, going into church and singing, and letting the people hear our harmony. And we really enjoyed it, and I think the people really enjoyed it too. But nobody would say, "Oh boy, man, they sound good up there." But we knew we sounded good. And I guess what I'm trying to get to is, when we belong to a Baptist church, and my mother and father found this church, and which was like 2 or 3 blocks away from the home, and we had access to it because on Sundays we would, walk to church. And so we would walk to church as a family. You really don't see a lot of that anymore, but you do see people come to church uh, in their vehicles. They drive to church, or they find some other church home that they want to belong to be spiritually, inclined. And I guess that's the same way with other denominations or religions, if you would. Again, whether you're Baptist, Catholic, Methodist, Episcopalian, Muslim, whatever, you always look back at the church that you belong to, or you found a particular church or religion that kind of fits your need. So I sometimes wonder, what's the use of going to a church that has a religion? What is it exactly they're reaching you, or you're reaching out for? Or what is the satisfying thing, I would say, about that religion that you uh, actually want to attend? What was it that really floats your boat, or that made you decide that you want to come back and visit the second time? Or was it some answers you were looking for? Was there a problem that solved with you, or in your spirit? Um, did that satisfy you? That's the reason why you got into that particular church. Now, I would say, for me, I really didn't have a choice, and I say that because my parents are the ones who are responsible for, you know, taking me to church, or, or taking me to this particular type of church, which was a Baptist church. And I really didn't, understand it. Because I never thought of it as the type of church that we should be attending, because that was just a church that my parents had us to attend, and we had to follow suit because we was living under their roof, and we didn't have any choice about it. So we had to do what we had to do, and we got up every morning when we went. Now, I said all of that to say, what did you really get when you went to church? What is it that grabbed you, or made you decided that was the deciding factor that you should become a quote unquote Baptist, or a Catholic, or a Methodist, or a Episcopalian, or Muslim? What made you decide that's what you wanted to be? Hmm. But where is God in all of this? Where is He on your list? Is He your priority? Is Is the reason why you joined this particular religion? Was it to get closer to God? Was it something that you prayed about? If you pray, and your answers came because the God that you believe in gave you the answers, and so you settled for that particular religion. Well, I don't know. I don't know. They in the Baptist church, they have what they call it was called a missionary Baptist church. You know, missionary, and I kind of struggled to understand what a missionary Baptist church really is until I got older to understand what it was supposed to be. And the missionary church was supposed to be on a mission to go to other places, or people in the church were supposed to go and travel to other cities or other countries, and they were supposed to be going on a mission to spread the word or to spread the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. And that was probably the reason why they called it a missionary Baptist church, if you would. Now, to be honest with you, I never saw anyone or knew anyone in the church that we attended, and these people never, as far as I know, went to a missionary church. I mean, went out on a mission. As far as I know, I don't know everything, but as far as I know, they were supposed to be going on a mission. So I never knew what that really meant. So I guess what I always thought was, excuse me. All right. I guess what I always thought was, it was just a name on a building, and it didn't really mean anything to me as a child, because that was something that, we never even think about. We just went to church, and the preacher stood up there and he preached. And if he was one of those hooping and hollering churches, he would, try to get the crowd all wild up, and, and then they pass the plate, they get your offering. Then they call altar calls. Altar calls is where you come to the front of the church and you lay your burdens down. And that was church. And, normally I would look at the clock. I would watch the clock ticking and see how fast we could get out of there so I could do what I want to do on a Sunday. So that was the extent of my religion. And I can honestly say that being a so-called Baptist, it really didn't do anything for me. All I know is that we began to call ourselves Baptists, and, because mostly, everybody asks you, well, what is your religion? And the first thing you would say was what type of religion you are, as far as you're concerned, or how you were raised, and how your mommy and your daddy taught you that this is what you're supposed to be. And so as I got older, I really took a look at the Baptist people, I'd say that, the Baptist churches. And I soon discovered that a lot of the Baptist churches usually follow the same protocol, um, which is being Baptist. And the other thing too, I got to say this because wasn't that it has something to do with water baptism, and that's why they call it like I'd be thinking about John the Baptist, and that's where they came up with the word Baptist. I don't know, but I kind of assume that that's what it really meant, that you were Baptist and it had something to do with John the Baptist. And so I wonder, I guess my question, when I think about it, I think about, well, what does God think about it? I mean, does he really care if you're a Baptist? I don't know. Does he really care that you are a Catholic or an Episcopalian or a Muslim? What is it? Uh, for me personally, I thought that being a Baptist would actually get me into heaven. And I thought, if you're not a Baptist, you possibly can't get to heaven. And that's how my thinking was at that time. I was pretty young, and I didn't know a whole lot of stuff, but um, you know, it's like when you go to the hospital or something and you go in an emergency room, first thing they ask you, I don't know if they still, I don't think they do this anymore, but they used to do this. And they used to ask you what's your beliefs? What is your religion? You know? And I remember distinctly one time somebody asked me that, and I asked them, why does it matter what religion I am, or does it make a difference? But they say no. Well, just in case of an emergency, they want to know, who they contact. I guess your clergyman or something like that. And by you being a Baptist, or they could get somebody that's behind the cloth, I guess, that believes in what you believe. Now, what is it that Baptist people believe? I guess that's a good question. What is it that they really believe? And I really can't, even to this day, I can't figure it out. I mean, I don't know what Baptist people believe. I do know that they believe in singing, and they believe in choirs, and they believe in, I don't know. I mean, I have an issue. Not, well, maybe not an issue, but from my standpoint, I can't really see what they Baptist people believe. Was it I don't know, was it the songs that that makes them even believe more that they should be Baptist? I can't answer that. Maybe you can answer that question. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you should think about how you see things. I mean, what does your religion teach you? I mean, I don't know about every. Now, I will say that I went to a Catholic church one time, and when I went to this Catholic church, they were speaking in another language. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand what the language. I think it was. I want to say it was Italian, whatever, Latin or whatever it was. I didn't understand it. I wasn't a learned man. I didn't know anything about another language other than English language. And so when I went to that church, it was unfruitful to me because I didn't get anything out of it. And, I didn't understand the language. I mean, they said a few things in English, and, because I asked one guy one time, this is not long ago, about maybe a month ago, in fact. He told me he went to a Greek Orthodox church. And so he told me that in that particular church, they speak Greek. I said, really? He said, yeah. I say, so I have a question. And he said, yeah, what is it? I said, since you belong to that church, do you ever invite people to come in, your friends, to visit your church? Do they do that? He said, yeah, you could do that. I said, but I don't speak the Greek language. He said, oh, and they will speak some English. I said, oh, okay. I say, so do you go to church on whatever day you go in, and when you get something out of it, how many people do you actually share that with? Do you share with anybody? He said, no. I say, then I'm wondering why you go to that church. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you get out of it, but I mean, obviously you get something out of it. I would not be able to be fruitful in that church simply because I don't know the other language. Have you guys ever been in that position before where you visit somebody else's church and it was something that just didn't move you or put you at ease, or were you uncomfortable with it? Was it something that just didn't get with you, or was the church too quiet? Sometimes that bothers people too. Church be all dead and quiet, and even the Bible, talks about the joy of the Lord is your strength. Joy. I mean, some churches just don't have it. I'm saying it to me, they don't have it. I went to a church one time and I visited this church. Now, maybe somebody can tell me what it was. This particular church I went to a long time ago, I used to have a girlfriend and went to a particular church. And I went with her because I wanted to see what their church was all about. And I was invited. I went, and to this day, I could never tell you what they believed in. But I will tell you that when I was in the church and I visited the church, there was no, and someone might be able to tell me or comment on it, this video, there was no music, there was no drums, there was no organ, there was no piano, there was no music, period. They was just having church. And I listens, I really listened very, very, intently to whatever the conversation is or whatever the pastor is supposed to be speaking on. And this pastor, this pastor made a comment, which I didn't agree with. And he said, how did he say it? I'm just going to tell you what I think he said in a roundabout way. He said that you can't watch TV and expect, I'm trying to say it the way he said it. He said, you can't get God in your life by watching television or church on TV or something like to that matter. I don't know exactly what the words were, but he said, this is the way it's supposed to be right here, right now. You can't receive God watching TV. And if anybody wants to challenge me, you could come see me in my office at the end of the service. I said, I want to see him. I need to talk to this guy. I need to find out what side his bread is buttered on. So I decided, and I think this was like the second time I visit this church. For whatever reason, I didn't get it the first time, so I decided to visit the second time. And then when the second time came around, I think this is where I had a difference with the particular pastor, because when he made that statement, I was really shocked that he made this statement. And so I wanted to challenge that. I'm sorry, I had to challenge that. So I abruptly went into the pastor's office after church. I went in and I started speaking with him, and I asked him, where did he get his information from about God not being able to save somebody? That's what it was, watching TV. And he said, God doesn't do it that way. I say, well, show me in the Bible where it says that you can't watch TV. I said, I thought God was omnipresent. I thought God was in every direction, in every place, and everywhere, through the airwaves and everything. How can you make a statement of that magnitude and say God can't get to you when you're watching television? How is that possible, folks? And isn't God a spirit? I mean, doesn't spirits have no bounds, do they? I don't understand it. Where these people get their ideas, but again, I don't know why they believe, but it just didn't make any logical sense to me that if I was serving God, that he wouldn't know everything about me, know where I'm at, where I'm sitting, and all of that. I think God uses people to get to other people, to get to you, whatever way possible. Now, I know that if I was talking to you about the Lord, there might be a time that this conversation comes up and it was supposed to be for me to talk to you. I can't save people, but I can certainly give you some information where you might be able to get a lot out of it, and it might perhaps send you down a different path. We already know that can happen. I think God uses people for that. So when you start talking about religion, why is it that you're in that religion? What floats your boat? What turns you on? What makes you happy to be there? I'd like to know that. And I'd like to, share that with people. And I'd like to get some answers from people that are out there that perhaps are maybe even don't really understand why they doing what they doing. And I'd like to hear their side. And, I'm just being open. Here at Up at Night Studios. I'm talking about real talk now. Let's not pretend. Let's just call it what it is, and let's see what you have to say about what you believe in. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to figure out and ask questions to why you believe in what you believe in. I think that's something that can be talked about. Well, what I'd like to do is invite people to my show, Up at Night Studios. And I'd like to start, sharing my live stream with people who have similar issues or who want to talk about what you believe. And it would be interesting to know what you believe and why you believe it and what floats your boat. I think that's fair to listen, because I got a whole bunch of questions. I really do. And I just want to hear someone else talk about why they believe in what they believe. Now, I'm not arguing with you. I'm not looking for arguments. We could be civil about this whole conversation. It's just talk. But everybody has a different perspective about what they believe in and how they see things, and I understand that. So we could get along with each other. We might not agree with everything with each other, but I'd certainly have some questions about certain things. It's like, do you believe in spirits? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in the devil? Do you believe in heaven? Do you believe in any of those things? You know, I'd really like to hear someone else's side or their experience about, what religion they are and how they got there. That would interest me. Why? I'm sure there's many stories out there that people could share. And if you would, tune in to my Up at Night Studios at on Facebook or YouTube, and find me at Up at Night Studios. And I want to build an audience of people that like to talk about religion, and maybe I'll have some answers for you to help you see some things. Maybe. I'm not saying that, I will, but I'd like you to be my guest on my new show. I've been out for just not long at all, just as fairly new for me. So I'm building a brand now at Up at Night Studios. So again, my name is Henry. And what I'd like to do again is to extend the invitation to those who want to talk about why they believe in what they believe in religion. I would like to hear your other side of the story and how you got to where you got. And I'm sure we'll have an audience that would like to listen to what you have to say. Well, that's all I have time for right now at Up at Night Studios. Again, my name is Henry, and I really do want to thank you for, visiting my site at Up at Night. Up at Night Studios, again, Henry Harris. I hope you got something out of this, and I'm going to bring up another broadcast next week about this time. Probably on Monday, and I'll be sending out invitations to people and see if we could get people on the show. All right. Thanks a lot for visiting Up at Night, and I hope to hear from you soon. Good night from Up at Night.